Destiny Garcia, and today I'll be talking about COVID-19 that happened in the year 2019. Some of you may know it, some of you may not, but today I'll be diving in and giving you an inside peek of what it was like living during those times. So imagine one day you get home from work, turn on your TV, and the first thing you see is your local channel news on saying that tonight a lockdown starts. Stores are running out of food, and supplies and even toilet paper is gone. Sounds something like you would hear from a horror movie, right? Sadly, it was not. In the year 2019, COVID-19 presented itself, a deadly disease that no one saw coming, a disease that would impact people's lives. This disease put everyone's lives on hold, isolating from their friends and families, where you were not even able to leave your house. It even took people's jobs away and put school on hold. And the worst thing about it was that it took lives away. Have you ever had someone enter your hospital thinking they had a simple cold, believing that they will simply walk away with a bag of antibiotics, when in reality they stayed in the hospital for over 3 months just for them to come out of a casket? Sounds harsh, but this was the honest reality families had to go through. It was exactly what I had to go through. Today I'll go into how and where COVID came from, get more detail how it affected people's lives and mine, and talk about the COVID vaccination they had created less than a year and how half of the society was against it. What exactly is COVID? COVID-19 is a deadly virus with symptoms of fever, chills, nausea, diarrhea, shortness of breath, chest pain, headaches, and can even worsen if you do not seek medical attention. According to coronavirus and COVID-19, what you should know states that COVID-19 can trigger what doctors call a respiratory tract infection. It can affect your upper respiratory tract or lower respiratory tract. WebMD 2021. The first outbreak had happened in China around December of the year 2019. WebMD 2021. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, explained that epidemiologists investigated to see where this virus came from and decided that this virus possibly came from a food sold at a market. CBC 2020. After this first break happened, the virus had then spread across several countries, including the United States. I first heard of the disease from my local channel news, KFOX. I remember at first I thought it was just another type of flu going around, and I did not seem to take it seriously. It was everyday's talk being on the newspaper, the internet, social media, and every news outlet. It went from just being another virus to the deadliest disease the United States has ever had. Looking back now, it's crazy to think about what this disease called. The first thing it created was, of course, the pandemic lockdown. Never in my life had I imagined my family isolating ourselves from the world for several months, and I never imagined that toilet paper was the number one necessity people needed. And because that's exactly what happened. According to how coronavirus created a toilet paper shortage states, toilet paper became a coveted item in late March when many cities and states across the country issued shelter-in-place orders in response to the coronavirus pandemic. More 2020. Now, because a lockdown was issued, many people were also forced to cut back on hours or even lost their jobs because of the coronavirus, which led them to have financial problems. Parker, Megan, and Bennett, 2021. Not only were the adults affected, but also children or anyone who attended school. Students were forced to attend online school instead. From personal experience, it was harder to learn online because it was hard to pay attention, and you didn't have that motivation to actually try to learn. And it also gave me social anxiety since I didn't have to socialize with other students. And I could say that this is a problem for most of the people that had to do online learning. Now, the thing that impacted my life the most was how COVID was able to take lives away, as I stated before. From January of 2020 to October 26th of 2021, there had been 4,978,268 deaths due to COVID, and my grandpa was one of them. As you could see here, I have images of all the bodies they're burying due to COVID, and you could see that they're wearing protective gear in order to not get COVID. My grandpa had gotten COVID-19 in October of 2020, but was not the only one that got it during that time. All my aunts, uncles, cousins, including my grandpa, got COVID-19, but luckily my grandpa was the only one that was profoundly affected. He was the only one that was forced to go to the hospital, and sadly he never came out. I was able to see everything he went through firsthand, and I believe this is how the situation made me take COVID seriously. I could say my family was one of the luckiest because patients who are admitted in the hospitals are not able to have contact with their patients outside, even their family. So they would have to call the hospital to check how they were doing. This meant you had no idea what was going on inside, including what was happening to that patient, but that wasn't our case. My grandpa's story actually made Las Cruces news, and that is because we were able to not only see him, but my Aunt Carolina Garcia was able to stick by his side every step of the way until it was his last. And this was because she was the nurse at the hospital he was submitted, which was Memorial Hospital. We were only able to see him through a window, and for us that was enough. We went from seeing him lying in bed, waving at us, being happy, to being intubated because his lungs started to fail. And that was the worst thing my family and I had to go through. He lasted in the hospital being sedated and ventilated about 3 months. But what other COVID patients didn't get was having someone being there physically for them in the same room, holding their hand, and something I will forever be grateful. I'm lucky and proud to say that my aunt was a nurse during this time because she was able to be there for my grandpa, and he did not die alone. And here you could see there's people waiting outside the hospital, and I believe half of it's my family waiting outside the window because that was where my grandpa was held. And this picture was taken because we were doing a little prayer during that time. There is an image in Las Cruces News that got the attention of many people, including New York Times. And the description of the photo states, the 68-year-old farm worker was admitted to Memorial Medical Center on November 6th, and since then, only one family member has been able to have physical contact with him. His daughter, Carolina Garcia, who is my aunt, who has been a nurse at Memorial Medical Center for 12 years. A photo of Carolina Garcia confirming her father was published by Sun News earlier this month and was picked up by media outlets nationwide. It's year 2020. Therefore, my whole perspective on healthcare workers changed because it made me realize how impactful their jobs are. I saw a glimpse of what they had to do, and during that pandemic, it amazed me. And this is the picture that had spread around the world and caught many people's attention. And that is Carolina Garcia, and that is my grandpa. Here are more pictures that were taken. That is my grandma who was married to my grandpa. You could see that she's waiting outside the window. Literally, she was there from 6 in the morning to maybe 11 at night. She waited as long as she could every single day that he was in the hospital. There is a picture, you could barely see, but it's a picture of my aunt, Carolina Garcia, holding my grandpa's hand. And then this is again the picture that was taken. Now the controversy everybody's been waiting to hear about, the COVID vaccine. Everyone can have a different opinions on it because everyone has different beliefs and values and what they believe in. But let's learn more about this vaccine. In December 2020, the Pfizer vaccine became available to the public. Commissioner no date. No one knew how to feel about it because it was made so fast, less than a year. and vaccines are known to take years to be made. This made people scared, and not too long after, there were already articles on negative side effects you would get if you were to take the vaccine. Written articles like these were was what made half of the country go against it. But the only reason I took the vaccine was because of what I had to see what my grandpa went through, and I did not want to put myself in that. I did not want to endanger my family members to go through that. I did not want to suffer, and I did not want to go through intubation just like he did. I believe the outcomes of getting vaccine COVID is 10 times worse than getting the vaccine. It is always hard going back to memory lane to talk about this devastating pandemic. So many people lost so much. No one saw any of this happening. But now I hope you all prepare yourself for the future. Take every virus, flu, and disease seriously, and take nothing for granted. Do everything you can to avoid these contaminations. Wash your hands every single day. Stay home if you feel sick, and take seriously COVID-19, please. COVID-19 is one of the most important events that will always be remembered, and use this information to help prevent another pandemic catastrophe. We went over what COVID was, how it affected not only my life but others, and the COVID vaccine. This will always be part of my life since it took someone so important to me away. But I will live to carry on his history. Thank you, and today I hope you were able to learn and catch a few things on what COVID was and how it affected people's lives.